about Homeland Security agents conducting an operation at an East LA megachurch. The federal government says the head of this church and 5 other members now indicted on multiple felony charges.
America, we just got hit with one of the most disturbing religious abuse scandals in recent history. The leader of a Mexican megachurch with 5 million followers worldwide has been federally indicted for what prosecutors are calling decades-long criminal enterprise that's trafficked children and women. Naasón Joaquín García, who his followers literally worshipped as the apostle of Jesus Christ, is accused of turning his church into a racketeering operation that produced child and forced minors into sexual slavery. But here's the most shocking part. This abuse has been going on for 3 generations, passed down from grandfather to father to son like some sick family tradition.
On Wednesday, prosecutors announced that he was indicted on federal sex trafficking charges. Garcia was one of 6 people charged with racketeering and child exploitation. Federal prosecutors said the defendants exploited the church and victimized members for decades.
What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This case is absolutely sickening, and it shows how predators use religious authority to prey on the most vulnerable. We're talking about a multi-generational criminal enterprise disguised as a church. Let me break down what just happened. The U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York just unsealed a massive federal indictment charging Naasón Joaquín García and 5 co-conspirators with running what they called Joaquin's LLDM enterprise, a racketeering operation that used the Luz del Mundo church to systematically abuse children and women for decades.
In this new federal indictment, prosecutors say Garcia and 5 others abused their power, doctrine, and structure of the La Luz del Mundo church to threaten, coerce, and abuse girls as well as boys and women in the church, engage in financial crimes as well, and obstruct criminal investigation.
Garcia was already serving 16 years in California State Prison after pleading guilty in 2022 to abusing 3 minors. Now he's facing federal charges that can put him away for life. The feds took him into custody from his prison cell in Chino, California, and transferred him to federal custody.
Federal prosecutors accused Naasón Joaquín García and his co-defendants of running a criminal enterprise, charging them with racketeering, conspiracy, and related crimes.
The charges here are absolutely horrific. Racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking of minors and adults, child explicit enterprise, production of pornography, forced labor, and obstruction of justice. If convicted on all counts, Garcia faces life in federal prison. And here's what makes this case even more disturbing. This wasn't just one sick individual. According to the federal indictment, this abuse has been going on for 3 generations of the Garcia family, starting with the church's founder. The indictment states that Garcia's exploitation follows a deeply disturbing tradition established by his father, Samuel Joaquin Flores, and his grandfather, Esebo Joaquin Gonzalez, also known as Eran, who founded the church in Guadalajara, Mexico in approximately 1926.
The allegations are truly disturbing. The women indicted are accused of priming girls and boys as young as 13 years old for Naasón's sexual abuse. Naason is accused of holding down a minor victim so that his father Samuel the victim.
Think about this. For nearly 100 years, each leader of this church has used their position as a quote-unquote apostle to abuse congregants. The indictment describes how each leader manipulated girls and young women by telling them they could earn special blessings by serving him, which ultimately included sex activity. The federal prosecutors describe a systematic grooming operation where the church doctrine was to manipulate to create a culture of unquestioning faith and obedience, teaching congregants from birth that they would be externally damned and ostracized from their family and friends if they disobey or question the leader. Garcia didn't operate alone. 5 other defendants were indicted, including 3 women who prosecutors say were the key to the an abuse operation. Rosa Sosa, 59 years old, described as the one principal co-conspirator who groomed victims for sexual abuse and directly abused minors and young women herself. Azelia Garcia, 46 years old, another principal co-conspirator who groomed victims and directly participated in abuse. Eva Garcia de Joaquin, 79 years old, Garcia's own mother and the wife of the previous leader who groomed victims her husband abused and directly abused minors herself.
We would see like young girls coming in like a bunch at a time, and then after a few hours Mercedes, Range Rovers would have picked them up and take them away.
Albert Chipres tells us this activity stopped after Garcia went to state prison, but he noticed the 24/7 security detail at the homes continued.
Federal agents conducted raids in East LA near the church, carrying out boxes of evidence from the properties owned by Garcia. One neighbor described seeing young girls coming in a bunch of times and being picked up by luxury vehicles a few hours later. The indictment reveals that Garcia used church donations to fund his abuse operation, paying international travel, expensive hotels, and even purchasing sex toys used in abuse and cleaning supplies to destroy the evidence. When Garcia was first arrested in California in 2019, the criminal enterprise didn't stop. It went into cover-up mode. According to prosecutors, his co-conspirators executed a scheme to pressure survivors into falsely stating that Garcia didn't abuse them. The indictment describes how they punished those who tried to speak out and systematically destroyed evidence, including shredding paper files, setting evidence on fire, and submerging electronic devices in water.
Church member Rosario Milan outside the East LA church today says she does not believe the charges.
Even today, after all these charges, the church members are still defending Garcia. One member told reporters she doesn't believe the charges and called him blameless and an impeccable person. This just shows the psychological control these predators had over their victims and their followers. Two of the co-conspirators were arrested, one in Los Angeles, one in Chicago, the three others believed to be in Mexico, and the U.S. government is working with Mexican authorities to seek their arrests and extradition. The Luz del Mundo church claims 5 million followers worldwide, with congregates across the United States, Mexico, and other countries. The federal indictment makes it clear this wasn't just abuse happening in Mexico. The criminal enterprise operated internationally, including right here in the United States.
I've met at least 5 of these survivors that suffered abuse, and when I hear those graphic details firsthand, it just breaks my heart, because he used his title, his position of the apostle. He used that to prey on the most innocent children.
The psychological manipulation was complete. Victims were taught that serving the quote-unquote apostles would lead to religious blessings, while questioning him would lead to eternal damnation and complete ostracism of their family and community. America, this case represents everything wrong with unchecked religious authority and the predators who exploit faith for their own sick gratification. For nearly a century, 3 generations of the Garcia family used their position as religious leaders to abuse children and women, all while their followers worship them as divine representatives. The fact that this abuse continued for so long across multiple countries with millions of followers shows how these predators can hide behind religious authority to commit the most heinous crimes imaginable. The brave survivors who came forward to expose this abuse deserve our respect and support. U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton said it best: "We commend the victims who have come forward for their extraordinary courage and deserve to bring an end to the decades of abuse. If Garcia and his co-conspirators are convicted on all charges, they'll be looking at life in federal prison, which is exactly what they deserve." Religious freedom is a fundamental right in America, but it can never be used as a shield to protect child predators and sex traffickers. No one, no matter what title they claim or how many followers they have, is above the law. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.